Manifesting. How to cultivate inner peace, release self-doubt, and manifest abundance with emotional intelligence, law of attraction, and powerful affirmation. Written by Garry Hudson. Narrated by Damien Brunetto. Truth is in the silence. There is also something inside you that will give you the option of being who you are, or the option to change your life. The reason you picked up this book is no accident. The fact that you are reading something about the law of attraction says very clearly that something inside you has sparked, and you want to follow this path to the point that it can have an impact on your life. Even if you did not verbalize it in your head, you were feeling it. Just because you are just finding this out doesn't mean that you have never experienced it. You have. You just didn't know it. Not everything that happens beneath the cerebral surface eventually comes into focus. And when it does come out, it is not limited to appearing as thoughts. It can sometimes come out as a direct action, or an indirect action that leads to something else. Have you ever met someone who has no shortage of drama in their life? If you notice closely, you'll find they have a penchant for theatrics and exaggeration. That reflects on what actually happens in their life. Do you know of someone that seems to have this prolonged string of bad luck? Well, if you study them closely, they too have an affinity towards playing the victim. They have a martyr syndrome that, if left unchecked, will see them commit repeated acts of self-sabotage, just so they can play the victim. Or, another manifestation of that is that they can put themselves up to show how strong they are to put up with suffering. Either way, they attract negative consequences. All these are examples of the law of attraction at work, but not in the positive way you imagine. The universe does not see things in negative or positive. It just sees what you attract, then colludes to make it come your way. The reason there is no negative or positive is because, as humans, we derive something in those binary terms, so as to simplify classification. But in truth, there is no such thing as good or bad. As Hamlet says, only thinking makes it so. There are two dimensions to Hamlet's line. The first is that you can interpret anything you want in a good way or in a bad. The second dimension of that statement is that thinking is what makes things happen. So if you want something to happen, think it in that way, and it will be so. Both ways of looking at it are valid, but we will look specifically at the latter for the purpose of this book. Thinking, in this case, is not silence. True silence includes a still mind. The silence that is meant to describe the lack of talking or the lack of conscious articulation puts us in the best position to communicate with the part of us that initiates the attraction process. The law of attraction can be synthesized as follows, to include all the elements of its tenets. Whatever that happens to you is the result of your request that is placed with the universe at large, regardless of whether you are conscious of the request or otherwise. Remember the old saying, be careful what you wish for, you might just get it. Well, everyone gets every wish they ever make, as long as it doesn't go against the other laws of nature. When you are responsible for pitting two laws of nature against each other, you find dissonance and sorrow. For instance, if you wish deeply that someone you love does not meet his mortality, you are pitting the law of attraction against the law of birth and death. And this dissonance will come to cause deep pain and sorrow in you. Your conscious mind is the part that you are aware of. If someone were to ask you what you are thinking, you would look into the conscious realm of your mind and tell them what you see transpiring in that part of your mental faculties. On the other hand, your subconscious is not something which we can claim to be aware of. I can't really look for the subconscious part of my mind and tell you what it's working on at any given moment. The operating language differs between the two realms. But what you do have is those moments of epiphany, where you get it. Those moments seem to come out of nowhere. They seem to come from the silence of the mind, and suddenly become apparent. That silence is like the black hole. It seems innocuous because of its lack of activity. But in reality, it is stronger than all your conscious faculties put together, and then some. Just like the black hole in the center of the galaxy has more density than the rest of the galaxy put together. We need to draw a distinction between a wish and the law of attraction. Wishes, in their most direct sense, have no value whatsoever if the wish is superficial. There is an old wives' tale that you should never reveal your wish, for its verbal articulation causes it to vanish. For all its simplicity and mumbo-jumbo sounding reasoning, there is some truth to it, because wishes that come true come from the silence of the soul. To make something come true, you sit in the privacy of your heart, in the silence of its existence. How to will the law of attraction. You should already have an idea of how to will yourself into invoking the ability to attract things you want in life and the things you want out of life. You will your desires in life by invoking the silence that envelops your state of peace. By willing yourself into a state of silence or a meditative state, you begin the process of traveling from the chaos we all live in with our daily lives and enter the state of peace that is required to vibrate at the right frequency. In reality, this is going to take a lot of trial and error. I could explain this to you, but there are no proper points of reference that could correspond to the words I could use for you to get an accurate picture of what you need to do. Instead, I'm going to point you in the right direction, and you will figure out how to do this with practice. By willing yourself into a state of silence, you control it in the positive sense. Otherwise, it could trigger a series of events that can even go against your best interest. To take control of it is simple when you begin. You have to stay away from anything that could result in negative consequences, because unless it violates other laws of nature, the law of attraction will bring about what you desire. Sometimes that could be something unwanted. Unwanted consequences are usually the result of negative thinking. Excessive fear, greed, gluttony are all examples of desires that can influence the law of attraction and bring about negative consequences. Silence is the voice of attraction, and feeling is the intent or desire. The one thing that will not work in the invocation of the law is the use of words and language. The part of you that is connected to all things in this world, as described earlier, is not learned in English or Russian or any language for that matter. You can ask many times. You can repeat your desire silently or loudly, and it would make no difference. It is the same with praying. It is what you truly and sincerely ask for that you get. Fine-tune your forces of attraction. Someone once told me that she doesn't dance because she is happy. She dances because she wants to get happy. The simplicity of that concept is amazing. It's an offshoot of a similar statement regarding an outward expression of an inner grace. Both these aphorisms brilliantly show you that the way to change your vibrational state. If you are feeling blue, for instance, you're going to attract some unwanted situations into your path. To avoid that, you have the option to consciously change your vibration by doing an outward act to change your vibration. In my friend's case, she chose to dance. The state of attraction is not just about attracting good fortune and material gain, although it can be. However, using something so powerful exclusively to gain things that don't mean much from a cosmic perspective is a waste. There is so much more that you can do with the law of attraction than just that. Stepping up to the state of attraction requires the invocation of a state of peace, which you can attain from balancing meditation with physical activity. You can advance that pursuit by also doing a number of outward actions that bring about internal changes in the state of your vibration. This, along with meditation, mindfulness, and exercise, elevates your game. But there is more. After all, the universe is abundant in its resources, and there is no limit to what you can ask for or what you can achieve. Rituals. To fine-tune your vibrational state, you can add one more outward expression to an inward grace, and that is the execution of rituals. Rituals are directly connected to the law of attraction in the sense that when you believe a certain ritual brings about an event, you instantly resonate at that frequency that attracts exactly what you want. Rituals are not ancient mumbo-jumbo that have lost its footing in contemporary society. Science has developed methods to research and test the effect of rituals and have come up with statistically relevant evidence that rituals have an effect. Don't think of rituals as something you find in ancient religions. Every religion, even in the modern sense, has some form of ritual. Look past these religious underpinnings. Instead, look closely at the coincidence of success in the wake of performed rituals. Take Alexander the Great, for instance. He hardly lost a battle during his conquest of Asia against the significantly larger Persian forces and the smaller provincial armies as he tracked into the heart of his adversary's empire. Each account of his battle is more amazing than the earlier one, but illustrates his ability to overcome great odds. It is well documented in history how he preceded each campaign with rituals. Genghis Khan did the same. Even Joe DiMaggio had his own ritual before every game, as did Wade Boggs and every other major league player. Rituals are like the tuning fork of nature. It helps in concert with being in a state of attraction to amplify the frequency required for effective attraction. However, do not get carried away with rituals. Some people become obsessed with it, and that state of being in obsession alters the vibration and diminishes any potential effects of attraction. A good way to keep yourself in a state of attraction, where you are constantly buzzing silently at the right vibrational frequency, is to have a daily morning routine. This routine should include meditation, exercise, and a simple ritual that gets you into the right vibe. Fine-tuning your state of attraction takes practice and discipline, both of which need to be slowly cultivated and developed. This vibration is best taught to children so that it becomes second nature to them. It is also easier for kids because they have less mental clutter to deal with. For adults, fine-tuning the state of attraction to the point that it is always in the state of attraction will have a tremendous impact on their efforts in life. Takeaway. Just as the voice of a person must be converted to radio waves for it to be broadcast across the airwaves, so too must the call to inspire the power of attraction be converted from conscious desire to vibrational communication. You must will the conversion from words to feelings. These feelings are not the emotions we so often confuse with feeling, but they are akin to the sense of knowing, the sense of communicating with something that is whole, complete, and all-encompassing. There are layers to this existence that we are just beginning to cobble together in our consciousness. I suspect we have some way to go, but for now, we seem to have instinctively recognized that there is something more, something that transcends the physical world we observe with our senses. The wise among us have seen deeper and found a totally different universe where the rules are in contradiction, yet manage to live in harmony. It's like the physical universe and the quantum universe, where everything that we thought we knew is out the window. In this universe, it is silence that commands and holds life. We find strength and unity in this silence, and it gives a whole new understanding to those times when we hear our parents preach about how silence is golden. There needs to be a shift in perspective so that we can bring the truth of how the universe, which includes us and everything around us, really works. We are so caught up with the material aspect of everything in the sense that we think that everything has a solid form to it. It doesn't. At the most basic level, even that which appears solid is actually energy. And that is exactly what Einstein figured out when he gave us E equals mc squared, which means matter can be converted to energy and vice versa. That understanding makes the law of attraction seem real. But it is real. It doesn't have to stop at seeming real. The law of attraction has been proven repeatedly, and you have done it too, unwittingly. Reflect, and you will know this to be true. Space and time, force and matter are all derivations of energy, and it makes up who we are. It is because of this relationship that we are able to attract and repel based on how we vibrate. Psychologically, this is an important point to note. If we subconsciously hate something, we are going to attract it in a different way. We may actually land up bringing that situation into our lives, thereby making an imaginary fear or revulsion real. In the execution of the law of attraction, a person's mindset is important, and so is their ability to center themselves in the event of distractions. One of the biggest distractions in the execution of the state of attraction is the fallacy of expectation. There is a number of New Age materials that equivocally champions the use of expectations to force an outcome. When you use the law of attraction to stay away from expectations, you will find a better success rate. Instead of expectations, use faith instead. Faith is not something that hints at blind expectations. Faith requires that you work at something and let it take its course. Faith is not easily explained. Faith is not the state of being when making a wish. Faith is the understanding that everything is what it is. Faith is the knowledge that the law of nature is fair and balanced and is not out to get you. You are given access to the law of attraction, just as you are subjected to the laws of the universe. Faith doesn't mean that you will get what you want when you want it, even if it goes against the law of nature. If you develop the proper mindset, resonate at the silent frequency of peace, and keep yourself in a state of attraction, then faith is the knowledge that whatever you ask for within the laws of nature will set your feet on the path to attain it. The law of attraction is not a genie in a bottle, and you are not Aladdin. You are a reflection of the universe that you occupy, and you and everything around you are connected by the inextricable link. Because you are connected, when you reach out to embrace whatever you need, it will come. Chapter 2. Visualization and Imagination. Visualization is not hallucination, and imagination is not fantasy. Your brain doesn't really know the difference between reality and imagination. If you imagine something enough, you will enter a state that it becomes true. This is the first phase of converting desire to reality, manifesting what you desire. In this chapter, we will show you how to use your mind's ability to imagine, your brain's ability to visualize, and your soul's ability to inspire. Asking and Materializing. Your conscious mind is at the center of all the things you do and all the things that you want to do. That is your natural mode of communication and the traffic cop of what you do at any point in time. What do I mean by traffic cop? Well, for most of us who have yet to internalize and advance our ability to remain in a state of mindfulness and meditation 24/7, we are directed and controlled by the commands of our conscious mind, save for situations where we are overwhelmed or where we are knocked off balance. Our conscious mind retains control over most of our thoughts and actions, and it does so by means of a language that it seems to whisper in our inner ear. You've heard this plenty of times. We take it for granted that this is the voice that we should be listening to in almost all the things we do and all the things we think about. But it's not. At least, it's not if we are serious about becoming successful beyond the wildest dreams of almost everyone we know personally. That is the voice of the conscious mind, and it has its good days and its bad days. Our first step is to be able to recognize when it has its good days and when it is bad. Our second step would be to change the way those bad days manifest, and then totally change it so that the conscious mind learns how to flip out of a bad day and sail along smoothly as it would on good days. You may have noticed that there are some days where you are invincible. You feel like you can take on anything and anyone and come out a winner. Nothing can get you down. These are, of course, your good days. Then there are your bad days, or not so good days, where you know the moves, but you just can't get your feet in sync, or you just can't get the words to come out right. You feel like a bumbling buffoon. Trust me, you are not the only one. We all have those days. For some of us, it's more of those days than the good ones, and for others, it's less of those days and more of the good ones. As logic dictates, the one who has fewer of these days and more of the good days is going to be the one with a higher probability of success and a shorter road to greatness. Remember Alexander the Great? Well, he must have had a lot of those good days, because a bad day on the battlefield is one where you don't walk away from, and since he achieved what no man since has, conquering most of the known world in less than 12 years, he most certainly had more good days than anyone else I know. But I don't think that it just randomly came to him. I'm pretty sure he had to work at it. Just like how I had to work at getting into those good days and recognizing those bad days before they manifested in my actions. Recognizing those bad days is a key part of you being able to align the forces that can make things happen for you. Why? Because if you are not having a great day, then whatever you are about to ask for, whatever you are about to work on, and whatever you are about to achieve are going to be tainted by something that can actually be controlled. The best way to start is to be vigilant in your current state at all times. If you are aware of your present condition, then you can do whatever it takes to get it done and to get it fixed. The best way to remain aware of your present condition is to be in a constant state of mindfulness, regardless of the distractions that come across your path. As you advance through your daily tasks, there is potential for numerous distractions to come your way. The challenge is that these distractions can sometimes be disguised as opportunities. Just by stopping to evaluate them can sometimes throw you off track. So be careful with what may seem like potential. But then the question that arises is, how do we recognize potential opportunities? The answer to that, and the previous concern about being distracted, are the same. If you can fine-tune your state of mindfulness in all the things that you do, then what you will be left with is the instantaneous ability to sidestep distractions yet recognize opportunities. One point that you need to understand about opportunities and distractions is that seeming opportunities that are out of sequence with your tasks at hand are actually distractions. If you are in the midst of doing something, yet the event that comes in front of you seems like an opportunity for something else, you should walk away from it. Opportunities. A separate discussion of opportunities is a worthy departure from the main subject at hand. As you can see, there are opportunities and there are distractions. Opportunities that are not in sync with your current tasks are distractions, but opportunities that advance your objective are real opportunities. There's only one source of opportunities, and that is the universe. You have to attract the opportunities you need and not leave it to chance. In fact, the only place that opportunities are left to chance is in your conscious mind. Everything that you ask for will show up at some point. Remember that saying, be careful what you ask for, you just might get it. Well, it's incorrect. There is no might about it. Whatever you ask for, you will get it. So indeed, you need to be careful what you ask for because when it comes, it could be a distraction. How can an opportunity be a distraction? Well, I can see how that can be confusing. Opportunities can be distractions because they do not further or advance your current task that is designed to fulfill your inspiration. It becomes a problem because it takes you away from doing something that you are in the midst of doing. This happens because your mind has asked for the second opportunity, and so the universe has granted it. Indeed, you are the cause of your own distractions. You will not have these kinds of distractions if you keep your mind focused on the tasks and objective at hand. Every opportunity you get is because you asked for something that relates to it in some form. Opportunities don't just show up. You have to ask for them. Whatever you ask for will come to you because the universe hears everything that you ask for when you are in a certain state, and it responds by aligning the opportunities for you to take. There have been many instances in my life where I have been careless with what I asked for. The result was that I got every single one of them, and they were not all as good as I thought they would be. Many of you will understand this part about asking for things and getting the opportunity. When you ask for something on a whim, you will get it. And when the opportunity comes, you look at it, and you are torn by what to do. There is only one thing to do. Let it go. But the next time, teach yourself to be cognizant of what you ask for. On the other hand, if you are constantly focused on one area and you are constantly asking for all that relates to that goal, then the opportunities that you get will be related to it. When you combine your mindful state to the things that you ask for, then what you get are the puzzles of the picture that you are looking to assemble. Success is made more efficient if you ask for things that you are mindful of. The asking is done in a different frequency than just opening your lips and muttering a voice. It is done instead by a vibration in your soul. But you must be able to verbalize at least part of it. If not, it is almost certain that you have no idea what you are asking for. The ability to ask and your act of asking tend to align your conscious and subconscious to the point that your entire soul vibrates in unison. This is the key to asking, and that forms the basis of your ability to succeed in any area you need to. It's not about repetition, where you keep asking the same thing over and over again. Have you tried doing this? I have. And it doesn't work unless somewhere along the line you are vibrating it out to the universe and it comes true. You may think it's the repetitive asking that's making it happen. It's not. It's the vibration you are sending out to the universe. But there is one aspect that you can do physically to be able to move this along. You must be able to ask for it in a cogent and real manner in your conscious mind. Your ability to sound it out and be able to vibrate from hearing it will take you much further than the blind repetition of it. Have you ever heard a song or a piece of music that just gets you going? You feel the inspiration and you feel the vibration. That's a form of vibration that gets you in the right zone. That zone and state of being are like a tuning fork that hits the right note when you transmit. It's like a carrier wave on a radio transmitter. It goes straight out to the universe, and the law of attraction pulls you toward your goal and pulls your goal towards you. You're then given the opportunity to make things happen and to make things into what you want it to be. That is the asking that you need to enforce, and that is the kind of asking that will make a difference in your life. Distractions. Distractions, veiled or otherwise, are very different from opportunities, but they feel like the same thing. That is why they are insidious. You think they are there to help you, but what they will do is drag you backward. The skill you need to develop is to be able to identify them and discard them. The desire to distinguish between the two, opportunities and distractions, is the point where you need to begin. You have now realized that opportunities that seem innocuous and even acceptable may actually be a distraction, You have also now come to realize that distractions have various kinds. There are those distractions that are pure distractions. They can be events that appeal to your vanity, appeal to your laziness, appeal to your desires in different ways, all the while distracting you from your ultimate goal and the path to your success. These are the distractions that are easily identified. You just need to stop for a moment to realize that they are keeping you from your path. Seems easy enough, right? You just need to do it. There are 3 things you need to be aware of, and when you keep them percolating at the back of your mind, then you are going to be able to stave off any of these distractions. First, you need to remember that you have dual purposes. One is the purpose of your body to make sure that you live. That is your physical body's primary purpose, and you read about this in the previous book in the series, Disciplining Your Way Toward Success. In that book, you learned that we are all endowed with dual purposes. The body, with its feelings and pleasures and pains, is endowed with the purpose of keeping itself alive. When you feel the pains of hunger, you are taught to reach for food. That food is designed to give you nutrition and give you nourishment. The body is the seat of the soul, an energy that is connected to the universe, from where you draw your inspiration. That soul has a different purpose, the second of the 2 purposes. The soul's purpose is to lift you to greatness, the kind of greatness that you've seen in the people that have achieved it before us, the likes of Martin Luther King, Mother Teresa, Winston Churchill, Abraham Lincoln. These truly inspired men and women who knew in the depths of their souls the purpose they had in them. Each of them succeeded at rising to greatness, and with their greatness showered us all with the ability to dream and see the way to a better existence. The second form of distractions is our dual selves. We've seen how we have the corporeal part of us desiring to live and procreate. Then there is the soul in us that is desirous and built to do great things. But one keeps distracting the other, and we almost always give in to the one with the more powerful tool, the body. The key is to align both towards the same direction, and that requires discipline. We've talked about discipline in the 3rd book in the series, Disciplining Your Way Toward Success. But before you can do that, you have to identify certain things as distractions and other things as opportunities. This part of the book, we're going to talk about the distractions within us. As you can guess by now, that the distraction that we are talking about here is the distraction that occurs because of the dual purposes. When the body needs to do the things that it needs to fulfill its purpose, you see that it distracts the mind from doing what the soul needs to fulfill its purpose. On the other hand, when the soul is going gangbusters on getting its purpose done, it sometimes forgets to do what the body needs to fulfill its purpose. The balance that you strike between doing both is one that makes or breaks your efforts. If you pay too much attention to the soul's objective, you may land up being unhealthy. You may neglect your family, and you may just break the chain of your life or the growth of your progeny. At the same time, if you get so involved in keeping up with the body's pleasures and objectives, you might get sidetracked from the soul's objectives. The key is to know where you are and what you are doing. The key is to not give in to habits that change the balance, and the key is to be able to be aware of what you are doing, so that in the event you get carried away in any one or the other, you are able to pull yourself back and get back to fulfilling both objectives. To be able to fulfill your soul's advance to greatness, you need to be able to have a body to take you there. If you want that legacy to continue, you need progeny to carry that on. If you neglect the purpose of your body, you will not get too far with your soul's objective. On the other hand, if you neglect your soul and focus only on the desires of your body, then you are not going to be able to fulfill your soul's objectives as well. The only way you can advance forward and fulfill your soul's greatness is to be able to fulfill your dual purposes and recognize the distractions that one throws up against the other. The way to do that is to bring on stage one more asset that you have that you don't really talk about. That is your mindset of awareness. If you have a mindset of awareness, you will start to be totally aware of what is going on and how it's going, and even be aware of the road that leads you to inefficient combinations. The point that you will slowly start to see is that you will need balance in all you do. But it's not a 50-50 balance. You need to find the balance that gives you the best utility. And if you ask for that, to know your limits and to know your abilities, what you will slowly start to see is the balance that you can extract and move forward in the most powerful of ways.